So now I would like to invite Luis to do a presentation, and then we will have Jorge to give a few comments about the presentation as well. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks, PDAC, for inviting us to the camera, Peruvian and Canadian Chamber, for inviting us to do this presentation. Well, let me start by saying that's wording over there, the richest country in the world is not, we are not overstating this. You'll see it. It's a real world, it's real. So the presentation contains these 4 or 5 items. I'm going to be very brief. I won't take longer. You are tired, as mentioned by Alfredo. But let me start by saying the geological context. Peru is a privileged location, located in a line, the encounter between 2 tectonic plates, the Nazca plates and the Andean plates. Yeah, it created some earthquakes, but that at the same time is giving us all the richness, all the deposits we have. That tectonic collision created all the energy that geology needed in the past to create those intrusive that brought all the ore fluids, all the metal fluids that we are enjoying now in our mining activities. As you see there, see the Peruvian country in the Pacific Ocean, and you see the border. That encounter, again, created our geology. And that subduction, the Nazca plate and the South American plate, create an energy by friction and pop up all those intrusives that we see in our mind nowadays. With this activity, I'm not a historical geologist, but we have different arcs in Peru. And that created that history. For those that are not geologists, what we have in there is that what we call a stratigraphic column. All the host rocks, and those in red spots, they are intrusive, that cover all the geological history, from the Cambric till the Quaternary host rocks. And that history, geological history, created all those deposits. That's the reason why Peru is so polymetallic. Name it, we have porphyries, we have skarns, we have Mississippi Valley type ore bodies, polymetallic replacement, all of them, all in Peru. So, in all terms, geologically speaking, we are very well endowed, a very rich country. But in addition, that geology gave us that mining tradition that we have. We all know that the mining activities have been in Peru since the Incas, even the pre-Incas stage. We managed to melt the copper and the lead and the silver. And all over our history, from the pre-Incas, the Incas culture, the colony, and the republic. We've been miners, we are miners, probably will be miners in the future. But how about Peru nowadays, Peru today? I've seen in the morning we have good presentations of our economy, our risk classification. I'm not going to repeat this, but something that it hasn't been said is that since 1992, Peru hasn't stopped growing. Peru is growing since then. Even the little 1% during the crisis. But since then, we are growing. Our GDP is growing. We are comparable only with Australia. See, Julio's got a presentation, Julio Velarde is got a presentation later, and he's a better person to explain this. For sure, our risk qualification is comparable with Chile and Mexico. we are the best in the region. And we are very well located, and you know that. We are in the Pacific Ocean, with good ports, and ready to export massive metal, massive cones to the different ports in Asia. China, Korea, Japan, and on all the news. You see there? Again, I'm not going to repeat what we said this morning. We are the big producers of copper, gold, silver, lead, tin, phosphates, iron ore, whatever, but any metal you wish. Mining legislation is being discussed in the morning as well. It's a very attractive jurisdiction, comparable with any big developed countries such as Canada, Australia, America, and some Chile. We compete with them. As you say, there is listed. The regulations could be complex, but we can say the mining companies are used to them and they are dealing with it. They are managing those permits. There's a lot of opportunities to improve there, but this is life. We gotta deal with the permits. That's the challenges we have as miners. We have to move ahead. We, as mentioned, we have free trade agreements with different organizations, the APEC, IFTA, and the last one is the Pacific Association, and we are the leader of that organization. And with that, we promote the exchange of knowledge, of competencies with our neighbors. And Peru enjoys a very dynamic exploration community. This is not today's. Let me check now. Yeah, this is the current map of mining leases. We cannot see the details, but since 1993 till now, we have evolved from only 400,000 hectares to more than 1.8 million hectares in claims, in mining leases. It's a huge increase, a huge number of claims, but I will see later, it's many things still to do. Peru attractive jurisdiction. All the mining houses, all the senior mining houses are in Peru. Everyone, Glencore, BHP, Anglo American, Goldfields, Southern Copper, Grupo Mexico, and the Peruvian houses as well. Minsur, Buenaventura, Nexa, etc. So all of them are in Peru. So it's a very attractive jurisdiction. So they can tell you how they can develop mining activities, mining operations, mining projects in Peru. Institutional support, governmental support. We have the Minister of Mining, as mentioned before, mentioned in other projects. They are very supportive of our activities, and the leaders of that institution, they are very supportive. They are with us all the time. Legislation could be difficult, permitting could be difficult, but they are with us. They are supportive and they understand very well our activities. We have this tax institution and the INGEMET, which the next slides are well prepared by professionals of this institution. INGEMET is equivalent to the American Geological Survey. The private association, the Mining Society, more than 100 years old as institution, and for sure the Mining Institute, which I have the honor to be the chairman, and we run the very well-known Peru Min, one of the biggest mining fair in the world, which occurs in September, and you guys are invited to attend. But how does the future like? So INGEMET, some professionals in INGEMET, whose president is with us now, Henry Luna, thanks for coming, they took the first step to measure that geological endowment in Peru. What they did, they took all the 590 projects, all of them, they put them together and they assessed, they evaluated the metal contained in all levels, potential, resources, reserves, resources, potential and other calculations. They made other numbers, 590 projects, and they ended up with what would happen if we exploit these deposits. As you see there, they use a number, factor calculated by the Peruvian Institute of Economy, which assumes that 28% of any dollar exported impacts on the taxes. So if we export $1,000, $280 are reflected in the taxes. So with that factor, they assume that if we exploit all the deposits, the current operations, current projects, infer resources, projects with environmental permits, and the projects with geological information, we exploit all of them, the impact on the taxes would be more than $350 billion. In terms of metal, the potential of this is about 360 million tons of copper, or under 240 million ounces of gold. Just guess, ladies and gentlemen, if we manage to exploit 10% of that potential, that geological endowment, let's say 30 million tons of metal copper, we are talking about 5 Las Bambas. That's the potential, that's the endowment we have. Only exploiting 10% of that potential. So we could have in our hands, in our projects, 5 Las Bambas, 4 Cerro Verdes, etc. Final remarks. Again, Peru is one of the most attractive jurisdictions in the world, as we said before. Our potential till 2040 mentioned in copper is essentially copper and gold. 70% is copper, 10% gold, and 20% remaining is other metals. And as mentioned, and correct the number, is the potential to produce copper in Peru till 2000, from now, 2020 till 2050, is 320 million tons of fine copper and 240 million ounces of gold. The potential impact of that is $760 billion during that period. And you gotta keep in mind that 40% of that endowment still need to be treated. So there's a pending task in terms of promoting exploration activities in Peru. Well, with that, we gotta thank Mr. Henry Luna, Jorge Chiva, and his team, Carlos Rios, Gerardo Tredes, and Edwin Villanueva, for providing me that information and that is being presented today. Thank you.